Ukrainian forces struck the pipeline again that delivers oil to Europe, and now Hungary and Slovakia are whining to Brussels and Washington. Over the night, Ukrainian drones targeted the Unecha oil pumping station, a key facility within the Dujba main oil pipeline network that transports Russian oil. Robert Brovdy, also known by the call sign Magyar, commander of the Ukrainian Armed Forces Unmanned Systems Forces, announced this and shared a video of the strike on Telegram. He noted that the precision strike was carried out by servicemen of the 14th Regiment of the Unmanned Systems Forces. By the end of the day on 21/08/25, the Unecha oil pumping station was out of order. Repairs will take 48 hours. The sting was delivered to the enemy by the UAVs of the 14th Regiment of the Unmanned Systems Forces, Brovdy wrote. The commander of the Unmanned Systems Forces also added, Ruskik Haza, which, translated from Hungarian, means Russians. Go home. This is the second strike on this oil pumping station in recent times, with the first occurring on August 12th. The previous attack resulted in the destruction of 2 pumping units, as well as a small technical building and technological equipment located nearby. Unecha is one of the key stations of the Dujba main oil pipeline, which spans 5,500 kilometers. The station belongs to the state-owned holding Transneft, which is responsible for the maintenance and transportation of oil and petroleum products within the Russian Federation and abroad. It has the capacity to pump 60 million tons of oil per year. Unecha plays a key role in transporting Russian oil to the port of Ust-Luga, which handles a significant portion of Russia's oil exports, as well as in supplying oil to the Mozir oil refinery in Belarus. The station is located in the settlement of Vysokoye in the Unexki district, approximately 60 kilometers from the Ukrainian state border. During the night of August 18th, units of the Unmanned Systems Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, in coordination with other components of the Ukrainian Defense Forces, also carried out a strike on the Nikolskoye 1 oil pumping station in Russia's Tambov region, which is one of the key stations of the Dujba main oil pipeline. Slovak and Hungarian foreign ministers sent a joint letter to the European Commission after another Ukrainian drone strike on the Dujba pipeline, urging Brussels to act over what they describe as a serious threat to energy security. "I'm very angry. You're my great friend," Trump replied to Orban's complaints about the Dujba pipeline attack. "I don't like to hear this. I'm very angry. Tell this to Slovakia. You're my great friend," Trump wrote to the Hungarian Prime Minister. And Russia's oil crisis shows no signs of easing. The Novoshakhtinsk oil refinery has been burning for a second day. Satellite images show the Novoshakhtinsk oil refinery after last night's drone strike, according to Ukrainian OSINT analysts Dnipro Ostint. The plant is a major fuel supplier for Russian occupation forces. Ukrainian fighters from the 1st Corps Azov, together with the 14th Chervona Kalina Brigade, destroyed a Russian BM-21 Grad MLRS on the Mir Nohrid front. Few names strike more fear and hatred in the Russian ranks than the Azov Brigade. Moscow's propaganda machine has demonized them for years. But the truth is simpler. Azov is one of Ukraine's most hardened, battle-tested units. Known for resilience, discipline, and high morale, they've carved out a reputation as a force the Russians cannot ignore and deeply despise. J.D. Vance recalled his Oval Office meeting with Zelenskyy. "Mr. President, if you behave, I won't say anything." Hard to imagine a clearer display of arrogance.
Take us into the room, because we're all dying to know that.
Well, I think when President Zelenskyy walked into the Oval Office, I was chatting with him, with the president, with some of the senior Ukrainian delegation. I said, "Mr. President, so long as you behave, I won't say anything." And he just chuckled a little bit, and it was a good little icebreaker. I mean,
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has posthumously awarded 101 soldiers killed in fighting with Ukrainian forces. The ceremony took place in Pyongyang at the headquarters of the Central Committee of the Workers' Party of Korea. Kim attended the event along with senior military leaders. Commanders, soldiers, and relatives of the dead troops were also present. Kim personally conferred the country's highest title, Hero of the DPRK. The 101st medal was symbolically placed next to the portraits of the fallen soldiers. State media described the event as the first ceremony of its kind, suggesting further awards could follow. In speeches, North Korean leaders said, "The overseas mission of the DPRK army is not yet completed," signaling Pyongyang might continue to deploy troops in the war against Ukraine. The move reflects North Korea's acknowledgement of losses among forces it has sent to support Russia. Analysts say the ceremony underscores Kim's use of the war for domestic propaganda, while also highlighting the heavy toll on North Korean troops. Earlier, the UK Ministry of Defense reported that North Korean troops had suffered thousands of casualties during offensive operations against Ukrainian forces in Russia's Kursk region. Initial assaults saw dozens of soldiers advancing across open terrain, leaving them vulnerable to Ukrainian artillery and drones. North Korean television has shown footage of its soldiers participating in the Kursk operation for the first time. The deployment of North Korean troops to Ukraine, meant to bolster Russia's exhausted manpower, has turned into a costly and demoralizing failure. Kim Jong-un's regime sent these soldiers with great propaganda fanfare, presenting them as elite fighters. But reality on the ground has been brutal. Poorly trained, unfamiliar with modern warfare, and thrown straight into high-intensity battles, the North Korean units have suffered staggering losses in just weeks. Ukrainian forces, highly experienced after years of war, quickly exploited their lack of coordination and outdated tactics. Reports indicate entire platoons have been wiped out in artillery strikes and drone attacks, while survivors face immense psychological strain, fighting in a foreign land under conditions they were never prepared for. Moscow had hoped to use these deployments as a symbol of international support, but instead they have highlighted Russia's desperation and the expendability of Pyongyang's forces. Every coffin that returns to North Korea is a reminder to Kim of the risks of tying his regime too closely to Putin's failing war. For Ukraine, the presence of these troops has changed little on the battlefield, except to show that Russia is scraping the bottom of the barrel, relying on allies with no chance of turning the tide.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.